there has been an update in the Ja Morant scandal. He has been suspended for a total of 25 games, which starts at the start of this coming season. Will have had nothing to do with team activities. Won't be there for games. He's supposed to be going to some sort of camp or counseling or help to get better. All part of the suspension process and his punishment. Steve, our initial reactions when we heard this was this doesn't seem right. 25 games isn't enough. You made all this talk to make an example out of Ja Morant, and now what are you doing? The reason it's only 25 games is because of the prior precedent the NBA had set with other suspensions and the severity of those incidents. In 2017 and 2013, Joakim Noah and Hedo Turkoglu were suspended 20 games apiece for being caught using steroids. Their pee came up hot. 24 games. This guy Jeffrey Taylor he pled no contest to domestic assault. He pushed his girlfriend in a hotel room, which damaged the wall, and like I said, he pled no contest, and because of all this, the NBA and the police dropped some charges. All he had to do was follow some parole guidelines, and he was good. Jody Meeks, Wilson Chandler, DeAndre Ayton, John Collins, and Didi Lausda, who I've never heard of. They were all suspended for 25 games for being caught using steroids. 26 games was given to Kermit Washington, who punched his teammate in the face, who then missed the entire rest of the season. Missed the whole season after catching a swift hook from Kermit Washington.
I'm sorry. If I ever let a dude named Kermit beat me up, I'm going to just kill myself.
Miles Bridges was given 30 games. He also pled no contest, but was convicted of domestic assault. He just beat the shit out of his baby mama. Steven Jackson also got 30 games for the Malice at the Palace incident and going up in the stands and beating up a fan. Is what Ja Morant did as bad as physically harming another human being? Probably not. Is it as bad as being caught using steroids or PEDs? I'm going to say no, but it's probably a little bit worse because of the repeated incidents. And that, I think, is the key part of all this, is that it's not like Ja Morant did one thing and got this charge. He got this charge because he did several things that were the same thing, which he told us he was going to do better at and was getting better at and apologized for twice. I think it's not as bad as the 30-game precedent they set, but it's a little bit worse than the 25 and 26 game because now I get the 26, the guy hit his teammate, but it's sports. Well, number one, it was his own teammate, which I think adds a little bit of a layer. Number two, heat of the moment, got a little carried away. I'm not really sure if they reconciled. I'm sure they did. Maybe it was kind of like, I get it, and it kind of all blew over. But like I said, this is not one thing. This is multiple things of the same thing happening. So I think 28 games would be a good number. But I understand what the NBA had to do for making it 25. But I just think because of the repeated offenses, it should be more.
I am very disappointed in the NBA for kind of how they handled this whole thing because, we can sit here and say, no charges were brought up on the fact that he was playing basketball with a kid that he mentored, I should say, who was 17 years old. The kid beat Ja Morant, and then Ja Morant got mad that the kid was talking trash, goes over to the kid, puts his chin on his shoulder, looks at his friend and says, "Should I smoke him?" And then beats up the kid, goes in his house, and apparently brandishes a handgun and tells the kid to leave.
Yeah.
It's not as bad as a vehicle that is factually owned by one of Ja Morant's associates just so happened to be rolling through the Pacers employee parking lot, pointing laser pointers at their staffers out of a back window where multiple witnesses said that Ja Morant was in that vehicle, but there were no cameras that could prove it, apparently. Then you go to the finish line incident where Ja Morant's associates were threatening to kill a mall security guard, and now these two incidences. I thought Ja Morant should have gotten a 40-game suspension. I think that the entirety of Ja Morant's story needed to be taken into account. You can't just look at two things and disregard the other things that he was doing from the time of like January of this year. So it's more than just two offenses. He's been around gun allegations for months now. Ja Morant obviously didn't care. He continued to do it regardless of if his name was in the media about it. I think this was a really big ball drop by the NBA. I think they didn't set the precedent or the standard that they needed to for this, because guns are a very serious matter in our world and culture today. So I just think they should have made a louder statement.
And here's the extra layer of it that could have Ja Morant in some more trouble with his job security. The Grizzlies, we already know, are maybe the same level, if not a tick better, in their winning percentage when Ja is off the court. So let's say 25 games, they go 19-6 or 18-7, like 20-5. I think even if they go 15-10, what really are we getting back for what you're giving us in terms of not only your production, but you're obviously off the court issues? There's a lot on the line for Ja Morant, and I said this before when he first was going to the counseling place in Florida that we still really don't know what he was doing there or what he was out in 2 days. But anyway, I said to you, Ja Morant if he does not come back right from this incident and moment, which he clearly didn't, he's going to have a very hard time commanding locker rooms, maybe either now or in the future.
I think you're right. If the Grizzlies come out and finish above 500, like a few games above 500 without Ja, I think that looks really bad on him.
It looks real bad. Like, it's not
because
great.
Are you really the leader?
Listen to the sound. I listen to the sound.